green? Are you an ultimate Eagles football fan? Well, you're in the right place.
Ready?
This is Birds 365, hosted by the new Mac and Mac, Jody McDonald and John McMullen.
Here we go.
Who collectively have covered and talked about more than 50 plus years of Eagles football. Kick off your day with Birds 365. You'll get debate.
We love to argue.
You'll get the real story from inside the locker room. And you'll hear from some of the great football minds from around the region. You're about to become an Eagles insider. Get in the game. Join Jody Mack and Johnny Mack and join the football community that flocks to Birds 365. Birds 365 starts right now.
Welcome to the NFL. Let's go. Go.
Welcome to Birds 365. He's John McMullen. I am Tone DeShields II, filling in for Jody Mack right now. He's experiencing some technical difficulties, but we're in the process of getting that worked around as we speak. But man, oh man, it's Tuesday. It's officially week 5 in the NFL. It's time to put the Jacksonville Jaguars victory behind us. It's time to move forward. So John, how are you feeling this morning?
24 hours, baby. Move forward. Yeah, it's never going to stop raining. But other than that, yeah, I mean, things are all good in Eagle Land. Only undefeated team, 4-0. We talked, early in the season about the schedule and said, that Arizona game might be the first time they're not favored. Well, they played so well over the first 4 games that they're pretty significant favorites going across the country in Arizona, which has, been up and down. They haven't been terrible, but they haven't been good either. So people are starting to get on the bandwagon. You saw Jalen Hurts on the Bannon cast, which wasn't very exciting, but, that's Jalen, man. He's even keeled. Talked about Nick Sirianni, trust, his mantra, talking about 4th downs, and he trusts the quarterback. The one thing, injuries, I think, is a little bit of a concern. Nick Sirianni wouldn't delve too deep into them. There's going to be, he mentioned, and it's obviously they took some hits against Jacksonville. He said everybody's got a chance to play this weekend, which isn't going to happen, but
right.
It does probably indicate that none of the injuries are very serious, maybe weeks and not months, hopefully. Otherwise, they're just lying to us. They are getting a little bit, having a little bit of a tighter circle when it comes to injuries, not wanting to give out information
right
until Wednesday. I don't know what the competitive advantage is there, Nick, but do as you like, but I do think they're going to be without some players this weekend in Arizona, and we'll see how that sort of shakes out as we move forward, Tone. But that to me is the biggest story, and that we'll learn more about that tomorrow. Who's potentially, and you're talking about Jordan Mailata, you're talking about Isaac Seumalo, Jake Elliott, most specifically. I think Darius Slay is going to be okay. From everything after the game, it looked like he was okay. So I'm not as concerned with that one. Maybe Avante misses another game if I didn't mention him. But, some of the injuries, and that's the NFL, happens. They're going to pile up at some point.
Yeah, for sure. It's all about that war of attrition, right? So I'm really curious not only to see, your perspective or hear your perspective about how this team adjusts and who will be able to step up. You know, some guys stepped in, and of course they're backups, and they're going to do what backups do. They're going to make mistakes, but you had guys like Josiah Scott and Zach McPherson step in. And, you know, I'm also curious to hear our guy Jordan McDonald's perspective on this thing as well. We actually have him in the green room right now, and we're going to bring him up right now. So, man, you know, again, these Eagles are going to have to find a way to bounce back from these injuries. But nonetheless, the Mac Man is in full effect. The Mac Man is in the building. I'm going to drop off you guys. Have a great show.
Jody Mack, a little bit late to the party, but good to see you.
Yeah. Stupid computer issues again. I can't even log on to the show. What do you do when Mr. Computer says application not available? You got to do what you got to do. But we were able to figure out the workaround. I guess I got to learn how to do this stuff when things go wrong. But things haven't gone wrong for the Eagles yet this year, Johnny Mack. And, oh, by the way, they went okay for your Super Bowl pick, San Francisco.
Yeah,
I need
I'm back on board.
I need you to fill in the deep.
You were bailing ship. It's very early in the season, man. That defense was impressive.
To bail a ship, you have to be on a ship at one point.
Well, that's true.
I was not on the San Francisco ship. That's
well,
your
ship. But I
didn't bail. I give you credit for not bailing.
I assume you knew they were a good team. You just didn't think they could go to the length of being a Super Bowl contender.
Correct.
But they've proven they're a good team. I assume you thought they would be a good team. Defensively, they're, you know, especially their front seven. When you talk about Nick Bosa and Fred Warner specifically, I mean, you're gonna create some issues with people. And look, I don't like the quarterback. There's no secrets there. I don't even think the head coach likes the quarterback, but he's known. He's, you know, and that term game manager is too often used as a disparity to quarterbacks in this league. But Jimmy Garoppolo has proven that he can be a game manager and win games. Maybe the margin of error is a little bit smaller, but the guy wins games. So you have to give him credit for that. Yeah, they're going to be a problem. They're going to be a problem down the road for somebody. Now, if you go to last year's playoffs, and Bob Grotz is going to be our first guest, you know, he was texting me during the game, Jody. He said the Eagles can't deal with this team. He's already talking about that.
No,
Mr. 8, no.
He's Mr. Negativity.
He's still got that's the thing. He's still got him going 8-0 or whatever to start the season, but he doesn't think they'll match up well with San Francisco.
I think they'll match up just fine. The only reason I brought it up, John, was if I watched 10 plays from the entire game, that was it last night. There was a more important game here. I know we're Birds 365 and we're football centric, but yeah, I kind of was watching the baseball team here in town clinch their first playoff spot in 11 years. So I didn't see much of Monday night. I didn't see Jalen Hurts on the Manning cast at all last night.
Evidently, that wasn't very engaging, which is no surprise. I was talking about that before you came on. Yeah, I mean, look, Jalen's he has a long-standing relationship with the Mannings. You know, he went to the Manning pass. He's very close to Archie. He's very close to Peyton. Especially, I don't think a lot of people know that, but you know, he's not going to give you anything on television. So I mean, I didn't understand the booking, and he was Jalen Hurts, just, you know, even keeled, and you know, on TV you got to be a little bit more entertaining, but that's not what he's there for. I was a little surprised that he was on the show, but he probably did it as a favor to the Mannings.
His flatline ability makes him a very good football player. Not too up, not too down, just stay steady. Not necessarily going to work as a broadcaster. And did you know about this before yesterday? Or do you think they put it together and announced it? I saw it on social media sometime.
I saw it. No, when they put it up, they put up their guest list. And that's the first I heard about it. Yeah.
Right, like middle of the day. And I don't, again, I'm not a Manning cast guy. I like to watch my football with real announcers who are in the stadium and watching the game. I enjoy entertaining television. I watch a lot of entertaining shows. When I'm watching football, I don't need to be entertained. So the Manning cast is not for me.
I'm even one further than you. I don't even listen to the announcers. I'm just watching the game. I don't even listen to that.
I like good announcers who can fill in some blanks, because sometimes they can see something that you can't see on the TV screen. So yeah, give me the good announcers, and Buckland and Aikman are pretty damn good. But I've just dropped in on Manning Cast a handful of times since they started it last year, so I wouldn't have been watching it anyway. But when did they announce their guests? Like 20 minutes before kickoff? Because I didn't know about it until I saw it on social media at some point yesterday. They don't announce it.
Yeah, it was in the afternoon. I think I tweeted it 13 minutes after it came out. That's when I saw it. So,
and what time was that?
I'd have to look back in my timeline, but it was afternoon. It was
afternoon.
Like 2, 3 o'clock.
They don't. Yeah, they don't give you much time to, if you're specifically going to tune in for it. And I would have, if the Phillies weren't going for the playoffs, I would have actually made sure I listened to Jalen last night. But I didn't get to see any of it because, I was so locked into the Phillies making the postseason. All right, one quickie before we get Groats, who is, I love Bob Groats. He's negative, but he's got him starting the season 8-0, but they can't beat a team like San Francisco. He's all over the friggin' map. Sirianni yesterday certainly singing the praises of Jalen and the entire team. Anything surprising come out of his media session for you?
Surprising? No. I think he went over the top with the trust thing, the trust mantra. I trust the quarterback. I trust the quarterback. I trust the quarterback. He was talking about fourth downs. And the Eagles were very successful on fourth down. They really should have been 4 of 5. They ended up 3 of 5 because I think AJ should have came down with that last one, but they should have been 4 or 5, which is pretty good. And they obviously had the 1 touchdown run on fourth down. He is, this team's been very good on fourth down. So, and he points a lot of that at the quarterback because he trusts the quarterback. So, and he should when he's playing at this level. We'll see how that continues, but Doug Peterson, I wrote about this yesterday. Doug's a perfect example. Doug was at the sort of foreground of all of this, Jody, the fourth down aggression.
Yep.
And he's up 14-0. He went for it on 4th and 3, and that was the big unforced error. That changed the whole game around. So that fourth down stuff, as Brandon Staley can tell you, that can give you a lot, but it can take away a lot. So you got to be very judicious with it.
Exactly right. John McMullen, Jody McDonald here with you on Birds 365. All right, first time out of the day, then we will get Bob Groats up here next. He's ready to rock and roll. The Darth Vader of Eagles beat reporters joins us next here on Birds 365.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
Welcome to Pond Lehocky. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, Birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown's 5-day used car super sale. Jeff puts an end to high prices now. 5 days of the best car, truck, and SUV deals ever. Over 1,000 vehicles, every make and model. Stop overpaying. See Jeff today and get a quality car, truck, or SUV now. The 5-day used car super sale. Experience how easy it is to deal at Jeff's. Nobody treats you better. Nobody gives you more. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown. GoJeffAuto.com.
We got the Maga right here on Birds 365, and Bob Groats is getting himself settled into his broadcast position. Are you ready to rock and roll, Mr. Groats?
I'm ready to go. Yeah, look at that energy. Yeah. That's Nick Sirianni like that. Maybe even Jonathan Gannon. It is a happy Tuesday.
Yeah. Give me 19 targets like the Rams gave Cooper Kupp last night.
Yeah, how about that? That worked out for them.
19 targets, yeah. God.
Are people catching up to Sean McVay?
Yeah, well, he's only got there's only two guys that he will throw the ball to. And I think the other guy, Higbee, had like 14. That's pretty bad. I mean, you kind of know who to double, right? Two guys, and the rest of them you don't have to do anything about. So, oh, and by the way, I'm really liking what D'Amico Ryans is doing. And
what a defense! What a defense for D'Amico Ryans.
He's really creative. Right. He mixes things up and has a good plan. And I liked Mike Caldwell's game too the other day with the Jaguars.
I like the start of it. You know, they got worn down by that Eagles offensive line, but you know they're not the first.
Yeah, but you know that 5 turnovers. I gotta. You know, Doug Peterson, I was in the room with him after the game, Jody and Mike, and John.
whoa, Bob. Yeah. Jody and Mike. Who's Mike?
I'm in that little, you know, the visitor visiting coach room.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, I wasn't well received by all 3 of the Jaguars beat guys there. You know, like was not well received. Yeah.
None of us are. One of my favorite stories is Shields, Shield Kapadia, when he first went to Seattle.
Is that right?
He started screaming at Pete Carroll because he was used to our press conferences, and you got to scream over people. So, and you know, Pete's known for doing some, you know, things where he's a little bit laid back. I'll say that. And Shield went to his first press conference in Seattle, and, you know, belted out a question. And Pete Carroll said, "What are you screaming at?"
Well, Peterson just smiled. But one of the reporters asked him, they said, how come James Robinson didn't carry the ball more? He said, well, did you see we had 5 turnovers. We didn't have the ball, you know. And they didn't. What did they run? 50 plays, 55 plays or something like that?
47 offensive plays.
So you can't, you know, that makes perfect sense to me. And I think that's the same thing with, you know, Caldwell. The Eagles ran how many? 90?
I think 82, I think.
A lot of plays. No defensive coordinator can really weather that storm. But you know, hey, undefeated. What a team. What a team.
Whenever you get a touchdown for a score, which the Jacksonville defense did,
usually wins.
It skews those numbers about total number of plays, but not that drastic. Oh my God.
82. I just looked it up. 82. It was 82 to 47. Officially.
Holy mackerel.
So,
and usually you get a defensive touchdown, and I think it's like 80% of the time you win the game.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, as you mentioned, Bob, Jacksonville, the 2 things that stood out to me, Jacksonville came in number 1 in turnover ratio. The quarterback turned it over 5 times. And the run, they came in giving up 55 yards on the ground. They gave up 210. That, to me, tells you the story of the whole game right there.
Yeah.
Bob, I saw your tweets again during the game. Do you have a personal beef with James Bradberry? We've talked about him before here on the show. I saw a tweet this week, and John, if you're going to look this up, you know how to look it up. Please do.
Yeah.
Passer rating against James Bradberry's like less than 20. Usually it's 98, 100, 105. The bad D-back. He's got one of the best passer rating against in the entire National Football League. And you continue to just crush the guy.
That's a Jeff Kerr stat. It doesn't. You know, when I went back, I don't have a vendetta against James Bradberry, but when I went back and watched the review, and I just got through the first half, I didn't do the entire second half. Bradberry got beat a couple of times. So, I mean, he made a great play there in the second half. There's no doubt about it. And for the second, I'll say this too, for the second straight week, for 2 weeks out of the last 3, that's what it is. The receiver ran the route in back of him. He sloughed off his man and then jumped the route. I mean, it was pretty clear to see what was happening. And
he baited Trevor Lawrence. He's a smart
that smart player. That could have been too. Lito Shepherd used to be really good at that.
Yeah.
And he jumped the route. So I mean, he made a big play there. And you know, the secondary, I mean, against a receiving core that really wasn't that good, they held their own.
Yeah, Bradberry's given up 12 completions on 25 targets. So that's pretty good. 48%. You know, interestingly, the Jacksonville game was probably his worst game, and he gets the interception. In coverage, the Detroit game was his best game. He gave up 1 reception and 6 targets, but he couldn't tackle anybody.
But there were 5 drops.
He couldn't tackle. He couldn't tackle.
And there were 5 drops in that game.
Yeah, so you're right. I mean, the numbers. The numbers.
I posted that video just so people could see.
The numbers tend to even out over. We're still in a small area. But he's been good.
And he's an upgrade. He still is an upgrade over what they had. So, but you know, Guy, when I watched the Monday night game, and I'm thinking, you know, the Eagles are undefeated. Yeah, but I don't think they beat San Francisco. I really don't. Yeah, I don't think they beat the Rams either with their trouble.
I don't know about the Rams. The Rams don't look good.
Well, those offensive linemen are going to get healthy, but they need to find another receiver. You know?
Yeah, I mean, Cooper Kupp had 14 catches. You're right. I don't know what Higbee
is. That incredible though? 19 targets. I mean, as good as he is.
And they have Allen Robinson. Move the football around a little bit.
He didn't have. I mean, that offensive line has to get healthier. They can't just. I mean, those aren't season-ending injuries.
Well, Jody knows I'm concerned about the 49ers. That defense, that front 7. Can really get after you.
Oh, the line, the linebackers are outstanding.
Yeah,
but
Fred Warner.
Just double check them one more time. This is the 2-2 49ers we're talking about, right?
Yeah, right. It's hard to believe. Yeah.
Okay.
But you know what? Look at the NFC East. Nobody has a losing, or the Washington has a losing record. Right?
3 teams would be in the playoffs right now.
Right. Okay.
Eagles, number 1 seed, Dallas, New York Giants. I guarantee you, Jody. There's not many guarantees I'm going to give, but I'm going to guarantee you the New York Giants aren't in the playoffs. I'm going to guarantee you. I'm going to guarantee you that.
Well,
and that's why don't get too wrapped up in these early. Now, the Eagles have been the best team.
Yeah, every team in the division has the easiest schedule in the NFL. They're all bunched in there together.
Not if they keep playing well, then they got to play each other.
28, 29. Yeah. I mean, it's like the schedules. I mean, I don't know. And it's not going to balance out with the schedule. So they're still going to, I mean, the teams that they play, the Eagles still,
as John just said, they got to play each other. If they're all good, they've all got good winning record. At some point, the Giants' loss is to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And the Eagles and the Cowboys are going to play in 2 weeks. So somebody's got to start losing games when they're playing each other.
Yeah. The Giants, I don't know how far they're going to get with Saquon, playing quarterback, the Wildcat thing. Yeah. I mean,
did you see that the other day after the fact? I certainly watch the Eagles, but I'm trying to stay on top of everything because I got to do a national radio show. They had Daniel Jones back in the game after he left because of an injury, lined up wide as a wide receiver. He's in the game with a bum leg, and they're just snapping it to Saquon and letting him run. What the hell are they doing? Did they really think they were faking out the opposition by splitting Daniel Jones out wide?
I've been told the NFL Players Association is going to send him a scathing letter saying that they're interested in player safety.
They should.
No, nobody cares unless it's a head injury, Bob. They don't care. They don't care.
You might be right.
Unless it
any other
hot
type
take.
of injury.
They don't care unless it becomes a hot take.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of the policy.
And unless the public gets on. That poor kid is stuck over in London, the first round pick from Georgia. I mentioned this yesterday on the show. Lewis Seen, he fractured his leg.
Ooh.
He's got to stay over in London. I think he's having surgery today, and they're hoping there's no infection. They're hoping he can get back. But nobody cares about player safety in that instance. And that guy's not cleared to leave the hospital, as Jody pointed out. They cleared Tua. First of all, he didn't have a diagnosed concussion, number one, coming into Thursday night. Number two, they allowed him to leave the hospital after clearing him. Yet the NFL kowtows to Twitter and Twitter outrage.
Yeah,
it's
so
bizarre
much
to me.
Hypocrisy. Yeah. It just that's too much. My sister is a doctor, and she said, and her husband's a doctor, and they ought to fire the coach too. And I said, come on, man.
The coach didn't clear him.
They weren't listening to me. Yeah, they said the independent neurologist needs to go, and anybody else who was part of it. Yeah.
Now I think Mike McDaniel's a goofball, but I'm not going to fire him for. He can't clear a player. He's either cleared or not cleared. That's like Nick Sirianni. What does he always say? Is he cleared? That's not my job. I'm not the expert, and he's right.
Yeah.
But everybody on Twitter's an expert. I know that, so maybe he should be an expert.
Oh, by the way, we're going to have to find out who the emergency kicker is, because one way or the other, Jake Elliott.
Yeah.
I mean, I think.
Well, no, they're going to have to sign a kicker if he can't.
This is going to be a problem. I was telling John about this, Jody. I mean, the guy who tried to block the kick, he was late, and he slid through there at 100 miles an hour. It wasn't a cheap shot. He couldn't stop himself on that.
By the way, I meant to look.
And they
at that
rightfully
play.
drew the flag for roughing
right.
the kicker. They got
Absolutely,
it right.
absolutely. No, there's no question about that. But it wasn't a cheap shot. But he came through there so fast that Jake was just hitting the ground. He lifted off a little bit to kick the field goal, 43-yarder. He just touched down, and the guy took his right leg out and then his plant leg. It was just, I mean.
Bob, I know you looked at that closely. I meant to look at it, and I didn't get to it last night again. Did he come from the left side?
Yeah, he came the kicker's left side, right.
So did he come around the edge?
Yeah, he came around the edge.
That's where Patrick Peterson blocked the kick on Noah Tungia.
Oh, no. Oh, I'm sorry. He came on the kicker's. If the kicker's looking at the goalpost, it was the other side from Patrick Peterson. Yeah. But he still got the kicking leg. Because of the way his body slid through there, and Jake, he was okay on. I think he kicked a 20.
Yeah, he kicked a field goal. He came
after
back.
they turned down the points, they couldn't get in the end zone. They had to kick a shorter field goal, and he made it.
Then he kicked a kickoff into the end zone, but his the next time he had a kickoff, it barely dribbled to the 5-yard line. So I mean, you could tell that there was a problem, and even on that 20.
That's the concern with the special teams.
Yeah, it is.
Like somebody sees, all right, Peterson blocked the kick, and they say, maybe we can get this kick. And all of a sudden you get this reputation. Then they're coming after these kicks hard, and your kicker gets.
Yeah.
That's one of those little things that their special teams. I've been talking about it for weeks. Not just the kicking game, but everything on special teams. They're not good on special teams.
That was the side that Jordan Davis, they put him on.
Yeah.
So he did his job. The guy didn't. The guy was late. He wasn't going to block the kick, but the wreckage or the cumulative collateral damage, whatever. I mean that's tough. Jake he's been so reliable. He did miss a PAT earlier in the game. What was it? He had made.
Yeah, but that was a terrible weather game. I mean, I'm not giving him an excuse, but
by the way,
we were looking that up. He made like 60-something straight extra points.
The laces were pointed to the left.
Even the laces. Man.
Yeah, you got to have the left. They got to be in front. Yeah, I mean,
sometimes you can't get them in front. You still got to make it. You still got to make an extra point.
We've established that Bob Grotz's family doesn't listen to him. But I listened to him. Maybe that's my mistake. And he's right about the laces must be front.
Yeah. Yes.
Because the last time I heard that was in the Ace Ventura movie, which of course was the Dolphins against the Eagles in the Super Bowl, which is exactly what we're getting this year.
That's where I got it from. Yeah, Ace. Yeah.
Ray Finkel.
Do not go in there.
Ray Finkel was a hell of a kicker.
So
he transitioned away from it.
Yeah, yes, he was. Bob Groats, how about Hassan Reddick? I'm trying to remember if you were a big, great signing by the Eagles or what they do in signing a non-true defensive end. He has really come up huge these last couple of weeks. I know it's a small sample size. Again, we're getting tired of saying that, but it is what it is. Small sample size. How good does he play?
He's doing exactly what they're paying him to. He's not just a guy who rushes the quarterback, but those strip sacks, that's his MO. And wow, I mean, you can't argue with the results. Now, Trevor Lawrence again, and I was telling John this throughout the day. This is one of the softest quarterbacks I've seen. You know, he was so soft it made me want Wentz bet. I said Wentz was better than him. You know, but he did his job, and the last one was just embarrassing.
Yeah,
he came right to the front porch, and tomahawked it out while Lawrence was looking the other way. Now, just no awareness, you know. But they're going to need him, and I think what happened with him, why he's so effective now, he didn't do much in the preseason, and they were trying to figure out a role for him, and now they got that, and I like that. I like that 5-man front that they have too. That. What is it? The 5-2 over Jingle.
5-1 penny typically.
Yeah,
the 5-1 penny.
Yeah. Hey, that is a killer defense.
It is a killer defense.
Right, honest NFL. Yeah.
Yeah, he does a good job.
He's watching the show right now. Yeah,
it probably is. But no, the Jordan Davis, and you kind of saw it, and I know people are upset because they see the numbers. We mentioned they only had 47 defensive snaps, so I think he played 17. But when he stops that run on first down, and you're in second and long, third and long, I've been talking this, Jody knows, I've been talking about this for a while. I hope people recognize that allows the Eagles to get more aggressive, and that allows them to go after the quarterback in second and third and longs, and they get the sacks they want. They want the sacks. The Eagles, I don't know if they lead the league in sacks. I haven't looked at it yet this week, but they're up there.
Yeah.
They're up there in sacks and turnovers. And that's what everybody wants, right? A lot of that has to do with
I might add it hides some of the deficiencies in the secondary, you know,
it hides Bradberry for you.
Stop with the deficiency. Bradberry's playing well, bro. Get off that hill. You're going to die on that hill, buddy.
Jody has Jeff Kerr on speed dial.
That Josiah Scott, I'll go here.
Now, that might be a legit question. You might want to go there.
A deficiency? Yeah, possibly.
Now, I in a weird way, I think that weather helped the Eagles defense. It helped them. Well, a couple things.
So too. Yeah,
it helped. Josiah Scott did not play well. But Jacksonville could not throw the ball because of the weather. I think they complete 11 passes. Trevor's just, playing point guard, just dishing the football off, bumbling all over the place. And then Jack Driscoll, too, playing left tackle.
Yeah,
I think if that was pristine conditions, the Eagles would have had some issues with Josiah Scott and Jack Driscoll. Am I overreacting to that?
Yeah. I think. I am? Yeah. No. I think you're right. They would have had more issues, but all things considered, they did a great job. If you look at their numbers in this game compared to other teams that played in the rain and the slop.
Well, Jacksonville. I mean, they're playing in the same stuff.
Right. What's the difference?
Well, no, and there were other games too. There were other games too. I mean, if you look at the other games, I mean, the Eagles only had one turnover, and that was who was that? That was on the receiver, right?
Did both of you guys know that Miles Sanders was a mutter? That he was going to come up with his best career game?
Yeah,
and
Miles was talking about it after the game. He's, obviously he's a Pittsburgh guy, and he was making fun of all the players from the southern United States. He said they don't like to tackle in this weather. I never thought of Miles as Earl Campbell, but he looked like Earl Campbell.
Yeah, he's got. I was asking about his the cleats for this game. He's got these nasty cleats. They're like 12 inches long or something like that. It's a good grip, I mean, he knows. You're right. He knows how to do this. Mutter, playing in cold weather and stuff. Snow. He knows it. You know who else did? The Eagles have had a bunch of running backs who are really good at that. LaShawn McCoy, that snow game.
The Lions.
He changed his shoes out. I think after a series or two, and bang. So, but I got to say this too. The Eagles, their plans going into these games, the first 4 games,
they're good. They're good.
Yeah, I like them. I mean, receivers. The receivers are wide. They're not wide open, but they're open enough for the quarterback to locate. The quarterback's making quick decisions, and he's not running as much. I like this. I like where this is trending right now.
Well, he ran a lot, but not as successfully. But he came up with some big conversions. But he had to, because
even when he ran, he went down. I mean, except for that play at the goal line. I mean, you can't be taking that helmet.
16. He had 16 rushes, so that's a lot. But he had to, because of the weather.
I'm not so sure that those were real. Some of those.
Most of them. Most of them. Are.
But that hit at the goal line, I mean, and there's another thing that was nasty, I wonder if either
got he in though, you got in
either he or the linebacker that hit him. I thought he initiated the head-to-head. He put his head down first, but
that was 4th down, so he had to get in. I give him
if
credit.
you're interested about player safety, I think that's what one of the directions they were going, right? Get rid of that helmet-to-helmet thing, But
they try, but it's football, and
you're right, exactly.
Guys are going to hit themselves.
That's exactly it. Okay.
All right, let me revisit something we just brought up in passing. Josiah Scott, not great. I'll have to call my buddy Jeff Kerr and find out what the passer rating was against him on Sunday.
I could give you his rating. I got it right here. No, that's the wrong
one. It was not good. Well, all three of us can agree that although the Eagles won, and
hey, Jody, Jeff Kerr does a great job too.
He does. He comes up with stats that I've never seen before, and sometimes I don't know if they actually fit the point he's trying to make, but they do in the case of Bradberry here. I don't know what the passer rating was against Josiah Scott, but we all agreed he didn't play well this week.
McPherson wasn't that good either.
Hold on. Any chance they go in another direction if Maddox can't play this week? Put someone else out there in the slot?
You mean the guy with 3 names? Move him to the slot?
Yeah, I think you got to give him. You got to knock him down to 2 names, because he's not playing that well either. But
Chauncey.
I thought maybe they would go that direction.
I thought that was a possibility too. I thought that maybe but
isn't Josiah Scott the number 1 backup at safety right now?
No, that's Kayvon Wallace.
So if you move Gardner to the slot, you put Kayvon into safety.
Yeah, and I thought they might entertain that, because Kayvon has a history with Trevor Lawrence back at Clemson. Used to practice against him, but they went the conservative route. I will tell you this: the Pro Football Focus grades, to give you an example, Hassan Reddick was 93.5, so he was the top defender. Josiah Scott was the bottom defender, getting a 29, which is oof. That is an oof grade.
Not good. Any chance? I guess I'm hung up on the secondary here. Slay back, which we don't know yet, but it looked like he's back out on the field. Sirianni said what he said yesterday. Wasn't going to reveal anything. You got to keep that competitive advantage. But we're assuming Slay's going to play. McPherson played well. He played better than Josiah Scott, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's better than Scott. I'll give you
that. You gave me Josiah Scott's PFF rating. What that was McPherson? Wasn't in the 20s like Josiah Scott.
No, he was not. He was the fourth worst defender. The four bottom defenders were Zach McPherson, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Marlon Tuipulotu, and Josiah Scott. Those are the guys who didn't play well.
In that reverse order you're talking.
I didn't think Marlon was so bad either. I thought he had some.
Well, he didn't play that much, so
John, since you got those numbers open, where the hell was Miles Sanders? He wasn't one of the top 10 rated from the top down Eagles. How can that be on a career high day?
Yeah, it's all about consistency from play to play. So if that's the thing about Pro Football Focus rankings. If you say miss a block, you're going to be graded down, and they don't weight like big plays. So that's one of my problems.
Yeah,
with Pro Football Focus.
You forgot to mention too, if the grader is out having a sandwich or something and he misses a series,
Yeah, well, that's it.
Pro Football
like Miles.
Yeah, no one's monitoring them.
Miles was number 8 on offense. He got a 64.4, which is not bad. But he got
wait a minute, number 8 on offense.
Yeah,
you know what?
Stop there. What do you mean that's not bad?
There's
only 11 guys on offense. Well, they had some substitutions.
No, I mean the grade. A lot of good grades on offense. The grade.
I'm glad I didn't subscribe to them. I tell you, man, that's
the grade. I'm talking about the grade. They had a lot of good. He got.
I'll take edge stats.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, it's about play to play. So they don't I think I've always used this baseball analogy. Somebody told me, Jody will get this. Roberto Alomar at his prime, Robbie Alomar was like a great, well-rounded player. Hit home runs, great fielder, gold glove fielder, could steal bases. The old vibe tool player. And somebody told me he's the best player in baseball, the best overall. And I said, yeah, he probably is at the height of his career, but he wasn't the most dominating. He wasn't the most impactful, because that's the home run hitters. Think Ryan Howard in his prime with the Phillies. Those guys are impactful. Pro Football Focus rewards consistency more than impact, and that part I don't agree with.
Yeah, there are bigger plays in the game. Not all plays were created equal, except
exactly. You said it in 10 seconds better than I said it in 2 minutes. Yeah.
All right, Broats. I know a couple of weeks you said you thought the Eagles could get out to an 8-0 start. Well, you're halfway home at 4-0. Easy time in the desert. The fact they haven't faced a quarterback who can pull the ball down and take off like Kyler Murray, that doesn't give you any reservation going into this week?
That's their weapon. He's their weapon. I mean, the receiver is still suspended, their best player, right? That guy,
Andre Hopkins, got a couple
7 games, right? Yeah. I mean, their other weapon, I think, is J.J. Watt, right? And he plays.
Yeah, poor. That was a scary story.
They're short of guys. I mean, Zach Ertz is, he can
pretty good.
He'll get you some first downs.
Zach Ertz could be an issue this weekend.
The running back, the guy who was at Pittsburgh, I'm not a big fan.
I'm not a big James Conner fan.
He'll get the ball in the end zone if it's 4th and goal at the 1. He can do that. But Kyler Murray's their only weapon. So and this could be another turnover fest. I mean, if they get behind, the Eagles are really good at getting that lead and making the other team play their game. And I'm impressed. I fully expect that to happen again.
Yeah, but this, Jack, that was the best part, Bob, of the Jacksonville win is they got behind 14-0. So they proved they could win a different kind of game, which I think is important.
It was. And it was 14-0, but we kind of know that the Eagles, especially because of the pick 6, that was a little too good to be true. You're right.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. But I mean, they did have that. They were at the Eagles 34 on that 4th and 3. So if Trevor Lawrence didn't just dribble the football,
who
knows? Who knows?
That was one of the softest plays I've ever seen. It just,
Yeah.
he saw the guy coming. Who was it? TJ? Was it TJ?
It was Fletcher. I think it was
Fletcher. Yeah, it was Fletcher who would never even who couldn't catch up to him if he tried. It's like, and he dropped the football. It just froze.
All I'm saying is beware the Cardinals. They were way behind their first week of the season. They went against the Rams. They were down at half against the Panthers this past week. They're not afraid to come make a comeback. The quarterback is a highlight film waiting to happen, both good and bad.
They usually play well. They play well against the Eagles there too, traditionally.
All right, before I let you go, Bob, at Bob Groats, Delaware County Times, read them there. We got to talk to Zach Ertz. He pretty much admitted that last 18 months here were no picnic for him.
It was hell. Yeah.
He didn't want to talk about it that much, but obviously he and Howie weren't getting along. Was that just because they drafted Dallas Goedert, you think?
No, I think he was insulted by the contract thing. And then I'm sure that escalated because Zach, he was one of the well-liked Eagles, from that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Kind of unsung. I mean, not like Kelsey, but I think people liked him a lot. And he did a lot of work in the community too.
Still does.
Yeah.
Still does.
The stuff that he's done for that team, the sacrifices and the way he's represented the Eagles, I think he felt he was really slighted, and they just marginalized him and his contributions. So I think
he played that playoff game with a lacerated kidney, and I think it all stems back to that.
Yeah. He had to sign a release, saying the Eagles wouldn't be liable, if he died or something. How about that?
But to give, I guess I'm defending Harry Roseman and the organization here. They weren't going to cut him. They were going to keep him. They kept him for a period of time. They did trade him, got something in exchange, and they traded him with a team that made the playoffs. And they traded him with a team, which, oh, by the way, he ended up staying with.
Yeah, so they could have done that sooner.
Zach feels the Eagles did him dirty. I'd have to disagree with that. I think that it worked out fine for him.
They should have done that
I think he likes Arizona, no doubt about it. He lived,
and he's got a kid. So the kid is a little tank right now. So we'll see him years from now playing at Stanford.
Stanford.
Whoa. How do you know that Zach Ertz's kid is a little tank?
He said it. He said it.
That's what he said yesterday?
That he's a little
How old
tank.
is
the kid? He was born, he was like
2 months.
42 inches long or something like that, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, it was just colossal.
Yeah, he's a newborn father.
He weighed like 35 pounds or something. Yeah, just huge.
35 pounds.
I'm exaggerating a little bit.
A little bit. Hyperbole from Gross.
Yeah.
But I guess you'd be expecting when you got two that level athletes, both mom and dad, as those kind of players.
In the genes.
Expect the kid to be
in the
Olympian
DNA.
someday.
Yeah, Zach's the second best athlete in that house, which is pretty impressive. So,
but I don't.
The first one to tell you that.
But guys, I don't see the Eagles getting tested until week 11. By the way, and that's when they play Green Bay.
See, that's the beauty.
You're up to 10-0 now.
Yeah, well, I mentioned that too. I said it could.
I know you said 8. I didn't know you went to 10. If you upgraded
that, that is the beauty of Bob Groats. He's got the Eagles at 10-0, but they can't beat the 49ers.
And plus,
or the Rams. You
only
said that earlier in the
show.
I you thought you slid that one in, Groats. Can't beat the 49ers or the Rams.
Yeah, how about that? I mean, that's where I think if you put the Chargers, even with Justin Herbert hurt. If you put them in the NFC, they could win the pennant.
The pennant.
Hey, yeah. I like the pennant reference.
Hey, and Jody, how about the Phillies? You knew it was going to happen, right?
That's why I told John earlier I didn't need to fill in the blanks on Monday Night Football for me because I didn't watch. I had to watch the Phillies make the playoffs. Sorry, little more important. I had to
what is that? Are they 2-0 or 3-0? What is it?
I think it's 2-0. Yeah.
But
I don't.
Hey, they got Wheeler and Ola pitching, and both of them 2 shutouts each of the last time they were out there.
They're on the road.
And if they get the Mets, DeGrom and Scherzer both got smacked around by the Braves this weekend.
If they get swept, does Thompson go?
No. Thompson's the manager for next year.
Yeah.
They can't officially, they couldn't do, extend him now. You can't extend him. There are rules that don't allow you to do. It's like the Eagles can't extend Jalen Hurts right now either. Phillies can't do it with Rob Thompson.
You think he's back no matter what? Okay.
Yeah.
He should be. He should be.
First time they make the playoffs in 11 years and he takes over a team that's buried below 500. You bet your ass he should be their manager again next year. All right, Gross, we got to run.
All right.
Always a pleasure, buddy.
See you guys.
Feel free to give McMullen as hard a time as you need in the press
Boy, it's
box.
dark in here. Did anybody else notice that? Yeah.
Yeah. Happy Tuesday. You going down there?
Yeah.
To talk to
Michael
I'll
see you down there.
All right.
See you guys.
The Darth Vader of Eagle beat reporters. He's always in the dark. It's always dark at his house. Now, it's dark outside, period.
Dark,
it's some lousy weather we're dealing with right now. I was going to cut him some slack for being in the dark today, but even he had to acknowledge, damn, I'm dark. He is. He's Bob Groats of the Delco Times. All right.
10-0 can't beat the 49ers. I love it. I love the dichotomy.
Can't beat the Rams, can't beat the 49. But somehow they're going to be 10-0. All right, we're coming back. BLG, Brandon Lee Gowton's going to join us so little under over 20 minutes from now. Mac coming back on Birds 365.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown's 5-day used car super sale. Jeff puts an end to high prices now. 5 days of the best car, truck, and SUV deals ever. Over 1,000 vehicles, every make and model. Stop overpaying. See Jeff today and get a quality car, truck, or SUV now. The 5-day used car super sale. Experience how easy it is to deal at Jeff's. Nobody treats you better. Nobody gives you more. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown. GoJeffAuto.com.
Score and save this football season on your car insurance. Before the next game, save up to 40% on your auto insurance policy. That's right, 40% savings. Call an Audible this season and contact the Del Val Insurance Group. They're an advocate for you, not an insurance company. That means they'll get you the right coverage and save you up to 40%. Call managing partners Fran or Jim of Del Val Insurance, 215-354-0122, or score and save at dvigi.com. dvigi.com.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services, the first one being basement waterproofing, the second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs, and then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Over the last 17 years, we've built a reputation of growing award-winning teams across the country. Staffing is not easy, but that's what we do every day, all day. The key to our success is storytelling, asking the right questions to find the right people. Hi, I'm Gary Kane, president of Kane Partners. We want to be your staffing partner.
Got your Mac guys, McMullen and McDonald here on Birds 365. As I mentioned, BLG, Brandon Lee Gowton's going to join us coming up in about now, only 17 minutes from now. I can't believe we've done 300. Oh, by the way, today is show number 375. Nice round number for Birds 365 here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel, which you should like, share, and subscribe to right now. We got over 300 viewers right now. You're streaming in. We love you. We appreciate you. How about you sharing the love and that like button for Mac? Don't think I've ever discussed this with you, which just surprises the heck out of me. Maybe I'm forgetting. You can tell me we have, if I've forgotten, J-Mac. What's your thoughts on plus minus for football teams? Point differential.
I think it gets, I feel like I say this all the time. I think it gets more meaningful as you get deeper. If you give me 15, 16 games, I say it's pretty meaningful. It's pretty indicative. Early in the season, you can play one good game and the Eagles have this right now, as a matter of fact, yardage differential's crazy. They're like plus 6 something and number 2's plus 300 something. Crazy. Still only 4 games though, so you have that. But they've been pretty consistent. That to me is the best part about the Eagles, that they've been pretty consistent. It hasn't been, one blowout, one bad game. They've been, other than Detroit, where they got tested a little bit, and even Nick Sirianni said we didn't really get tested there either. Which
they needed that 4-minute offense to kill that game, Johnny Mac. I don't know how you look.
Yeah, but that's kind of I always say games have a feel. So when we were talking about the fourth quarter stuff, not scoring in the fourth quarter, I mentioned that. Like, my feel is like against Minnesota or Washington, if they needed to score, they would have just turned it on and scored. Now, you can't prove that, but in other words, you didn't feel they were in danger at all. There was no sense of urgency. That's why
week 1 against Detroit, when they tied it and cut it to 3 points, you had
there was a little bit. I didn't agree with Nick here. I'm telling you what Nick said. Okay. I thought there was. Okay. I thought there was, and I thought they did a tremendous job. I think probably he's looking at back in hindsight and said, you know what? Everybody in the building knew we were going to run the football. We ran the football and we ran out the clock. And from a coach's perspective, I think that's pretty good. But yeah, I thought they were challenged in Detroit. I don't think they've been challenged since, other than the early 14-0 lead with Jacksonville, and that's a little bit of adversity, but they came back and dominated that game. They've been really good. They've been the best team in football over the first 4 weeks. I don't care who I know our buddy Paul Domowitch keeps putting Buffalo on top. I think Buffalo's more talented, but remember, they have all the issues at safety now. So they're taking some hits. I think the Eagles have been the best team. Taking a snapshot today, and that's all it is, a snapshot. They have been the best team in the NFL for the first 4 weeks.
I agree. Buffalo did lose, and you can go back and see. That's another one. You can make the numbers sing and dance any way you want, depending on how you play. A lot was made over the fact that Buffalo had 28, 29 more offensive plays than Miami did, and the Dolphins win when the Dolphins beat them, and the Dolphin defense was out there for 80 some odd snaps, almost 90 snaps. Except they got the big stop when they needed it in the fourth quarter. And that's how you win and lose games. And the Dolphins did just that. I don't think they got enough credit for it. They're the 3 top teams: Buffalo, Miami, Philadelphia. You want to put them in an order? You want to go see? And the Dolphins are so hard to rank and rate now because you don't know about Tua. Oh, by the way, worst kept secret: Tua's not playing this week. That was announced yesterday.
Yeah, now they're going to have to keep him out, and they probably, look, that whole story bothers me. Like, it bothers me. And he's probably going to be out for a number of weeks because of the court of public opinion, not because of his health, but because of the court of public opinion.
We'll see about that. I'm guessing he's going to miss 1 week and then be back, but I'm just the court of public opinion of one. That would be me. So we'll see how it shakes out. But I wonder if Nick Sirianni would have been ticked off if someone went to him and said, oh, by the way, we've got to rule the quarterback out today on Monday.
Oh, my God.
He lives for that competitive advantage. Yeah. I'm not going to give you information on my injured players. No, we're going to hold that as tight to the vest as we possibly can to the very last second so we can get that perceived competitive advantage. Yeah, the Dolphins, I would not be surprised if they were directed. You will announce on Monday.
Oh my God, yeah. They were told. Yeah, absolutely. That's why it bothers me so much. They're changing the rules on the fly because of one situation, because of a social media uproar. That's it. And it bothers me. It bothers me.
Well, if they're doing it to improve the health of the players, I'm good with it. I think there are ulterior motives, but if the ends justify the means, then I'm okay with it. And but I do think that if Tua is again cleared by many an individual, they're going to have more doctors looking to Tua Tagovailoa over the next week than he's ever had look at him before. But I think it may be just a one more week thing, but we got to wait and see. All right, back to the Eagles injuries. Darius Slay, you ready to give me a percentage on the chance he's going to play this week?
Yeah, this is just my pure speculation, but seeing Darius after the game, seeing him during the game, I'm going to say 95% he's going to play.
All right, how about Isaac Seumalo?
I'm under 50. And Isaac's one I don't know anything about other than he was injured late in the game and it looks serious on the field, or somewhat serious. Now, I hope Nick is telling the truth, because if he's not, I'm going to be angry. But the fact that he said everybody has a chance to play on Sunday, well, that part's false. But
yeah, he can't be wrong. He
secondly,
said, yay. He left it open-ended.
Yeah.
If 2 play and 2 don't, he's right. If all 4 play and none of them, he's right. If none of them play, then
no.
he's right.
But here's what I'm saying,
they
Jody.
all may play. He didn't commit to anything.
If there's a season-ending injury, I don't think he would have phrased it that way.
Okay.
Now, if there is, yeah, that's gonna
better
me
question than season ending, an IR injury, because that's 4 weeks.
Yeah, even that. I mean, to me, that phrasing indicates week to week, not month to month.
I agree with you.
Yeah. So if it's anything more than that, so Avonte Maddox, Ian Rappaport had a couple. He said Slay's pretty much fine, I think, and Maddox might miss another game, but that's it for him. And he didn't play against Jacksonville, but so he was already out. But Jordan Mailata, that's the one to keep an eye on. Isaac Seumalo and Jake Elliott. And I think the Eagles might have to sign a kicker.
So you think Maddox is going to be out again?
I think there's a chance he's out again. Probably 50-50. Probably legit question.
So they could be understaffed. They signed an offensive lineman yesterday to practice squad, but that's just the practice squad. We know who's going to play this week. But if either one of those guys go to the IR, either Seumalo or Mailata, who do you think they move up? How do you think they reconfigure the line? We know Driscoll's in for Mailata because he did as good a job as he did. We know Opeta's in for Isaac because he did a good job himself. But somebody's got to be filling in the roles that they're coming off the bench. Who do you think the Eagles are elevating?
The problem is they got, the guys they would elevate, they lost. Coyote Awasika to Detroit.
Right.
Raven Clark to Tennessee. They just signed Tyree Stevenson, as you mentioned. And last week they signed, I forget the kid's name, an offensive tackle to replace Raven Clark. But yeah, I don't know if either of those guys would be ready. So they have some issues. If both those guys can't play, Andre Diller's not ready. He's getting closer. He doesn't.
Yeah, I thought Dylan was going to be back. Didn't you hint at that last week that the 4 weeks are up? He should be good to go.
No, I didn't hint that.
Okay.
As a matter of fact,
I thought I remembered you saying that. If you didn't, I trust you.
When the Eagles said 4 to 6, the Eagles said 4 to 6. Not, well, I shouldn't say they said, they leaked it. That seemed really optimistic to me. And I would think 6. Now, I did see him last week on the practice field. He doesn't have anything on his forearm anymore. So he is getting closer. And generally that surgery is just to stabilize the arm. So it's not terribly serious, but I would lean more towards 6 than 4. And so we'll still have a couple more weeks with him. We'll see. Maybe, that's how things happen. Nobody cares. People only care about head injuries. So, they need them. You might push them a little bit quicker than typically you would in other circumstances. But these new guys, they're not, even with Jeff Stoutland, you're not, Cam Jurgens obviously would be the one to handle all the interior positions. We've talked about him. Would you move him to guard? Well, they might have to move him to guard.
Right, but except they could have done that this week and they put Opet in instead.
Yeah, and after Sua, they clearly, they don't want to move him to guard if they don't have to. But at some point, you might have to, is what I'm saying.
All right, then here's my question for you. And again, I'm going way the heck out there on a limb because any questioning of Jeff Stoutland is like sacrilegious here in this town.
Should be, by the way.
Well, then let me put forth my question, defending it before I even get it out, McMullen. Josh Sills. I don't think John McMullen had him on his 53-man roster.
Navy Sills. Yeah, Josh Navy Sills. Great nickname by Jordan.
Okay,
Mailata,
good nickname, but a surprise to make this roster. And, oh, by the way, a couple of guys that he made it over have since been pinched from the Eagle organization by other teams. Is he ready to play? Are they going to put him in? It doesn't say much if they're going to move Jurgens from guard, from center out to guard. Why is Josh Sills on this roster?
I think Sills would be the next tackle up. So if Jordan, remember, we're saying if Jordan can't play, and Driscoll's playing left tackle, then Driscoll or Lane get injured, which hopefully then it would be Sills outside. And I think, if Isaac can't play and it's Sua and Landon in the middle, then Cam Jurgens is the next interior. So the top interior backup would be Cam Jurgens, the top outside backup would be Josh Sills, and that's where you are. And by the way, when you're that deep on the depth chart, that's a lot better than most teams. But you also don't want to see it. You got to be honest with yourself. You don't want to see that kind of stuff, but that's where you are. You
have to hope that Eagles get some good news to their credit. Both Driscoll and Opeta, they stepped in. Driscoll for much more action because Mailata got hurt much earlier.
First time ever he's played left tackle, by the way. So,
looked like he knew what he was doing to me. It didn't look like a terrible drop off at all. So give him credit for that. They're going to need their guys for at the very least depth purposes, because I do think there's some question marks if both of those guys are out of the lineup this week. All right, Johnny Mac, the Mac and Mac guys on Birds 365 coming back. We'll be joined by the big man, Brandon Lee Gouton from Bleeding Green Nation. He's up next here on Birds 365.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community, a sports roundup for the locals, and the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Since 1977 at Rafferty Subaru, we have always been about our customers and the community. Early on, a safe and durable option, we've evolved to become the best overall brand according to Kelley Blue Book. Over the last 14 years, we've donated thousands of dollars through the Subaru Share the Love event and found homes for hundreds of pets. The Rafferty family is proud of our 45 years in business. This month, celebrate our anniversary with special financing on select models. Visit us and see why.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Holy shit.
And you're telling me I can get one of these glasses for free?
That's right. One free rocks glass per customer with each first-time purchase of Stateside Vodka. So good, it just disappears.
You got Johnny Mac and Jody Mac here with you on Birds 365 on the Wednesday leading up to game number 5. That would be against the Arizona Cardinals. We'll get to that, but we're still looking back at the win over the Jacksonville Jaguars this past week.
Yeah.
And here to give us an assist on that and where the Eagles sit at 4-0, the best record in the National Football League. The question is, are they the best team in the National Football League? We'll put that to our next guest, the editor, chief cook and bottle washer, the creator, the do-it-all guy at Bleeding Green Nation, Bernie Lee Gouton. BLG, are the Eagles the best team in the NFL right now?
I think it's them and the Bills. And, why not the Eagles? I mean, they're undefeated. Yeah. Offense is looking good. They arguably have the MVP at quarterback. They can win in different ways, as everyone's liking to say after this game. Why not?
Yeah, I agree. I say in this snapshot, Brandon, they've been the best team. I mean, it doesn't mean it's not going to change moving forward, but over the first 4 weeks, you look at the yardage differential, it's crazy compared to them as the number 1 team and the number 2 team. What has been the most impressive part to you about this team when you look at it? And I'll take the quarterback off the table, as you mentioned. He could be the MVP. What surprised you, I guess, the most about this team and how well they played?
I think it goes back to the history of the Eagles and something we kind of all mentioned going into the season. This is a team historically that does not play up to expectations as much as they're better at overachieving when expectations are low, and typically they underachieve when the expectations are really high. So to me, for everyone to think about how great this team looked on paper, and then for that to actually just be the case, and there's no actually this is way worse.
Jason Kelsey mentioned that. He's like, every time you think we're good, we stink. And every time you think we're bad, we're good. Yeah.
For there to be no drama, and they just it's been very uncharacteristic of a Philadelphia sports experience. It's like, hey, the Eagles look really good this year, and guess what? They are.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
how much of that, as a follow-up, sorry, Jody, how much of that do you give to Nick Sirianni? Because the most impressive part to me about Nick Sirianni, and I say this all the time, BLG, is a lot of coaches say they'll do whatever they need to do to win a game, but they don't. They just lean on what they always do. He legitimately does whatever he needs to do to win a game. So people were saying, oh, he's not going to run Miles Sanders 27 times in a monsoon, but he ran him 27 stinking times because he had to. I'm impressed by that. You don't see that with a lot of coaches, never mind young coaches.
I think it speaks to the talent on the roster too, just their ability, to be able to do that and lean on different guys and different guys to step up and make big plays in different moments. Like you had James Bradberry with the interception, and then obviously Hassan Reddick, who had an NFC Defensive Player of the Week kind of game with his forced fumbles, including the one that closed the game out. And offensively, it's been a different story each week. Leaning on Miles Sanders was obviously the way to go in the rain and everything. So Yeah, I definitely think, the players deserve a lot of credit, as Nick Sirianni, I'm sure, has said. But yeah, I mean, credit to him too because my question heading into this year was, okay, where does he give this team an edge? And I think you kind of talk about this. You can kind of talk about the culture of the team, and having, like very positive, feelings in the locker room, and everyone's having fun and doing well. And obviously winning helps with that. But again, there's no like weird layers of dissension or anything or any kind of like drama really around the team. And I think he deserves credit for that.
Yeah, I think the culture is right now outstanding in that locker room, and Sirianni does get the great majority of the credit for that. But on offense, Shane Steichen's the guy who's deciding that they're going to run the ball into the ground. They're going to, on a bad off day with Miles Sanders showing that he can move it through the mud and the muck and the mire. Yeah, he's the guy who was calling those plays. Do you think Sirianni is hands-on, like whispering in his ear on every single call, or is it truly as they describe it before the game, after the game, the collaborative effort, everybody works on the plays? But in the moment, it's Steichen, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Sirianni would talk about how going into the game, and maybe this is the case, they're like, they might discuss like, this is going to be a run heavy game. We want these certain plays. We want this, going into this matchup. And then once game day arrives and everything's live, then yes, I do think, Steichen's obviously actually making the call in that moment, with Sirianni certainly being tuned into the process. And I'm sure, giving feedback or weighing in where he feels necessary. But yeah, Steichen's been really good this year. Jonathan Gannon has been really good this year. And that's a pretty good, and there's a decent chance it's early that like none of those guys are back because they're doing that kind of job so far.
Yeah, that's something we'll talk about as the year continues to go on. A little bit early, but if Shane Steichen continues to put together offenses and the Eagles are that successful, he's going to be a head coach. I mean, to me, JG's more of the question mark, simply because most teams want an offensive guy. So even though JG's the guy who got all the interviews last year, he's still got that. He's hamstrung by the fact that few teams want to go defense to begin with. But let's talk about JG. You get a lot of feedback at Bleeding Green Nation, Brandon. So not the most popular guy amongst the Eagles fan base. But, I mean, I don't know what they are this week. I haven't looked at it yet. But they were number 5 on defense coming in. Now, traditional, which is terrible way to rate defenses. But nonetheless, I mean, contextually, it is what it is. They gave up 200 whatever yards against Jacksonville, so it's only going up. They're near the top of the league in sacks, near the top of the league in turnovers. This is everything Philadelphia wants on a defense, right? But I still don't get the feeling that he's aggressive enough for these people. Are you still getting that?
I think, it's the tide is turning a little bit here with, and it should be, because the results are there. And that was really my biggest thing. I'd like, show me some results here, especially against teams with quarterbacks who aren't like total jokes, like Garrett Gilbert and Jake Fromm and whatever. You have to go out against like an actual real starting quarterback and have a good performance. And that's what the Eagles defense has done since, obviously week 1 was not a good game for Gannon. But ever since, I think they've allowed what? They allowed 7 points in the Vikings game. They allowed 6 offensive points in the Commanders game with the safety in there. They just allowed, what was it, like 14 or 14, whatever? Yeah, with the, discounting the pick 6. So, those are strong results.
Yeah, that's not bad.
And talking about going into the season, this is where it needed to be. This needs to be a top, quarter of the league kind of defense. This can't just be a merely decent defense. This has to be a really good defense. And credit to Jonathan Gannon. Get credit to the players for making plays, but so far, so good.
By the way, they've moved up to number 3 defensive ranking yards allowed per game. Only Buffalo and San Francisco ahead of them right now on the defensive side. That's pretty damn impressive, Mr. Gannon. Thank you very much. Despite the defense looking as good as it has, they might have some questions in the secondary this week, BLG. If Slay is back, that takes one of the fill-ins that you had to use last week off the table, get him returned to a backup role. But Maddox might not be able to go, which means more Josiah Scott in the slots. He did not play exceptionally well. The only thing I'll say is he got better as the game went on because he was so god-awful in the first quarter. There was only one way to go. But any chance that they go in another direction if Maddox's not good to go next week?
I don't think so. And I do think they should kind of, be cautious with him and maybe some of the other guys too. It sounds like Slay will be able to play. Notice I didn't say Darius there, just Slay. Right. I think Maddox, with this big Cowboys game in Week 6 looming, and the Cardinals. Not that you should overlook the Cardinals, but with them not being great, and you should be able to win without him. I think you're going to go with Josiah Scott again in the slot, and we obviously have to see how it goes too with Jordan Mailata and Isaac Seumalo. We didn't get the full scope of what their recoveries will look like. Sirianni saying that
you'll know more on Wednesday.
Brian. Yeah, it didn't seem like like season ending, but we still have to see.
Yeah, Jake Elliott too might be a big one, because if you have to sign a kicker off the street, that's not where you want to be, and unfortunately the Eagles might be there at least for a few weeks. But yeah, look, the offensive line, I mean, look, you can't give enough credit to Jeff Stoutland, but at some point, I mean, if Jordan can't play, if Isaac can't play, Jack Driscoll playing left tackle for the first time. Really, if you think about it, because Andre's not available, so they're down to their third left tackle. The backups, if those guys are unable to go, would be Cam Jurgens and Josh Sills, interior outside. Brett Toth, people forgot we didn't mention him, Jody. He's now eligible to come off the PUP list.
Is he anywhere close? Dillard, you say?
Well, he tore his ACL in December, so it's a 9-month injury, so he should be close. So we'll see how they handle that. They do have this incredible depth, but I it's still not Jordan Mailata. It's still not Isaac Seumalo if they're not able to play. At some point, where does this attrition harm the Eagles?
Yeah, I mean, they're certainly more qualified than other teams to handle this stuff. But even like their practice squad being looted the past couple of weeks, you lose Coyote Awashika, you lose LaRaven Clark. So you're really being even thinned out in those areas as well. Getting Toth back, I think, would be nice. We don't know for sure. It seemed to me in training camp that Tyree Jackson looked like a little bit further ahead than he did, just based on what we saw in terms of guys running around on a field. Hard to judge for sure. And then Dillard, obviously, we'll see if he's able to come back this week or not, because he's also eligible to come off of IR, and that would be a nice for him to be able to return. With Driscoll, I think he relatively held his own. There was obviously that one drive that kind of got killed when he was pushed back into Jalen Hurts. But for the most part, I thought he did well. But I also think that the Eagles were kind of shaping their offense at that point to also, not just like drop back and ask him to win one-on-one and do the things that they could kind of do if they had Jordan Mailata in the game. So it's hamstringing the offense a little bit if he's not going to be there. So, yeah, ideally, you need to figure this out.
Understood that the Eagles do what they need to do to win games. They have for 4 games now, 4-0, only undefeated team. John gave credit to the coach because he really does show that in this preparation during the weekend and in the game itself, making decisions, 4th down and the like. He does whatever it takes to get the job done. Just looking in the crystal ball, will that be running the football again this week against Arizona? Their defense, the way you think the game's going to play out, as heavy a running attack this weekend as was last week, or better balance, or this is a Jalen Hurts 300-plus yard passing day? What do you see in BLG?
Just looking at some of the stats ahead of this matchup, I think, you look at the Cardinals defense and they've been a little bit better against the run than they have the past, where overall, not a good defense, still ranks towards the bottom of the league in points and yards and everything. I think this is especially, out there in the dome. I think this is going to be another big Jalen Hurts passing game, or has the opportunity to be. And really, this Cardinals team, I mean, I caution to say anything is an easy win in the NFL in a given week when so many weird things can happen. But and for the Eagles too, who have not won in Arizona dating back to 2001, so it's been a while. 0-5 in their last 5 trips there. But this Cardinals team, to me, just does not inspire a lot of confidence, like a lot of, especially if you're a Cardinals fan, a lot of things to feel good about. And I really think this passing offense should be able to get back on track this week and have a big game.
Yeah, I'm with you, especially I'm not the biggest Cliff Kingsbury fan in the world, but I will say this will be the first time this season, Brandon, that the Eagles kind of get a little bit a taste of their own medicine, and the fact that the opposing quarterback can move around and do off-schedule stuff. And that's what makes the Eagles so difficult to play a lot of times from a defensive perspective, at least, if you're the opposition. Kyler Murray changes things. I mean, things can break down and he can make something out of nothing. Are they prepared for that? Does it help that they get to practice against Jalen Hurts all the time?
Yeah, I think so. And I do think that is an interesting, variable and wild card. Even if Kyler maybe isn't having the best day with his arm, that he can kind of just create those plays like we see Jalen Hurts is able to. At the same time, I think Kyler is so much less threatening than he is if DeAndre Hopkins is healthy. It's just, and he's a totally different quarterback when that guy is available. So, and he's not, because he's still suspended for his 6-game suspension there. So the Eagles catch a big break by being able to miss him. And I think, Kyler will be able to make some big plays for sure. But I think, that cuts both ways. There's some erraticism or erraticness, whatever you want to call it, to his game that I think is going to result in turnovers, especially by an Eagles defense that's been pretty opportunistic here.
BLG, as the return tour continues, third consecutive week, fourth if you want to count Jalen Reagor.
Poor Regs doesn't get in there.
By the way, is he still on the Vikings? I haven't noticed.
Yeah, had a big 23-yard punt return in London.
Did he?
It was well blocked. I'll just say that. He got exactly what he should have gotten.
And I apologize on my CBS show. I overslept. I planned on getting up at 9:30 to watch the kickoff. Yeah, I overslept and said, you didn't get up till like 1 o'clock because all the action happened in the last 2 minutes of the game. You didn't have to watch any of it, except I missed the Jalen Reagor punt return. So I guess I should have got up.
Yeah. I think he got like 4 weeks in a row. They have an early game, right? In London or Germany. I think they're going bang, bang, bang every week. I'm not sure, but I'll double check.
I have to reset my Sunday alarm. But it is the return to our Reagor, into Carson, into Doug. This week it's Zach Ertz, who's off to a pretty damn good start, having one of the best production number-wise of any tight ends in the National Football League. Do you think coverage on a top-flight tight end will be an issue for the Eagles? They face Hockenson week 1, and he put up some numbers. Not scary numbers, but some numbers. The last couple of weeks, not so much the other team's tight ends. Is Zach Ertz an issue for the Eagles this weekend?
I mean, just a good player for sure. We all know that. A guy who, doesn't have the flashiest game, but is a chain mover. So I certainly think he can kind of be annoying at times in that sense. I'm sure he wants to have a big game against his former team, but also averaging something like, 8.1 or whatever it is yards per reception this year. It's down from his career mark of like 10.2 or so. So not quite having, an elite season from that standpoint. Eagles should be able to contain him. Like you mentioned, haven't really been unable to cover tight ends for the most part this season. So not really worried about him. But certainly it's so funny how the schedule lined up with all these like back-to-back. Oh, there's that old face that we remember. Yeah. That was a big part. Yeah. It's almost like too, I mean, I'm getting ahead of myself here, but imagine if Nick Foles has to start for the Colts when the Eagles play them later this season. And there'd be something really weird about like the Eagles having to beat all the people that helped them win the Super Bowl to get back to the Super Bowl.
I do think it's trending that we're not going to see Carson again coming back to Lincoln Financial Field. I don't know if he's going to be the starting quarterback by that point, but it is.
Be. Yeah.
Yeah. Giants Packers this week in London. So they are starting this. You got to get up a little bit earlier if you want to see the Giants this week. When I talk about this defense, one of the things I was concerned about, Brandon, at least on paper, was if the Eagles come up a team, and at least on paper, you might see it later with Tennessee, most likely. But if they come up against a team that can run the football like they can run the football, or at least stick to the run. I was concerned about Hassan Reddick, undersized on the edge, Kaiser White, undersized at linebacker, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, a slot corner playing safety. Should I be concerned about that? Or is that something that is just, that's the modern NFL? People are going to try to defend the pass first, and if you got to stop the run, you just hold on for dear life.
Yeah, I think since week 1, they've kind of more so bottled down the run. So not super concerning. And I think for the weaknesses that those players have, you see that able to be offset in other ways with, like, you'll live with maybe some of that with Reddick if he's going to be able to knock the ball out like he is. That's huge. So those are like huge. And that's something he's been doing very well since he became a full-time pass rusher over the past 2 years. Like that's not just luck. He's really good at attacking the ball and getting it out. And then, Kaiser White, for his flaws, I think he's really fast and is able to make plays too. And we've seen him make some big plays so far. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, I think he's one of the few maybe weak points in the Eagles defense right now. And some of that I think is, still adjusting to playing safety on short notice and only joining the team on short notice. So I think there should be some level of grace when, factoring all of that in. But it seems like we see like a play, or at least one play every week, where there might be a coverage bust or a miscommunication, or he's somehow involved in that, or some missed tackles, quite frankly, from him, like he had, I know, again in this game. Yeah. So I think he, that's something to watch, and maybe that gets better as he has more time, and maybe the bye week kind of helps him out. He's able to kind of get more familiar with the defense and take a breath and everything. But in the meantime, if I'm another team, I'm looking to attack him.
All right, heard your opinion / insights on this in other places. Need you to share with us on Birds 365. The attempted tackle by A.J. Brown on the pick 6. You buying his explanation that he wanted to just run him down and clap it out from behind? That tackling stuff is way overrated.
No, I don't buy that at all. I mean, even okay, I saw his explanation, but then I rewatched the play, and I'm like, I'm not even seeing, how that would really work out. And also,
exactly.
AJ, they pay you that money, or they pay the defense a lot of money, to the defense that's been playing well recently, just get them down. They're not paying you to force fumbles. They're paying you to catch touchdowns. Just get them down, trip them up, and then let the defense handle it.
And oh, by the way, adding insult to injury was the injury. Mailata was trying.
Yeah,
he's trying to make a play. You're the fastest guy out there, AJ. What are you doing just jogging after him?
Yeah, that's bad. It's a bad look.
Yeah, it's not good. But maybe Jordan should have let him go too. You're right. I mean, sometimes I'm going to give AJ a pass because AJ's so damn talented.
Sure,
I'm going to give him a pass. But I agree.
I'm not saying cut him, but I'm saying anybody can be called on the carpet for any play.
You're correct. He should have made a better effort, but man, he's been good. I tell you all the time, I knew he was good. I didn't know he was this good. But I do want to talk about the one part of the team, and people are probably sick of me talking about it, but it's not good. And that's special teams, Brandon.
Yeah.
They are not good and it's everywhere. I mean, even Jake Elliott, who's been good, and I'm not going to kill him for missing the extra point in that kind of weather, and he had made 60-something straight or whatever. But even that, him getting injured, I think you can go back to the Patrick Peterson block. And teams are saying, oh, we can get something on the Eagles. And they're going after the kicker, and all of a sudden he's hurt, and who knows? Hopefully he'll be okay and be able to kick. But even little things like that. Aaron Cepas had a bad game again. The difference between the net punting average between the teams, at some point, this is going to bite him in the you-know-what, Brandon, right? I mean, they got to get somewhat better at something on special teams. They can't cover kicks well. They don't return kicks well. What is going on here?
Yeah, it's pretty disappointing. I mean, if you go, just a couple metrics here. If you look by Pro Football Focus's grading, they have the Eagles as the 30th ranked team in terms of special teams. Wow. Football Outsiders has the Eagles at 29th in DVOA. So yeah, by every metric, or a lot of metrics that you can use, certainly not good, and that matches the eye test. And yeah, I mean, the sit-boss, some of those punts where, and it's been, I think, 3 in the past 2 games where they're like, just over midfield. They're in a opponent territory, let's say like the 49, 47, 43, whatever, and he just like punts it into the end zone. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, come on. So that's been really frustrating, among other things. And, I said earlier that the Eagles might be losing 2 coordinators. Maybe none of them will be back because maybe they'll need a new special teams coordinator. At this rate, I think they will. If they continue to struggle like this, I do think, not to put it all on Michael Clay, for as amazing of an offseason that Howie Roseman had, probably could have done better in terms of, finding maybe a more inspiring option at kick returner / punt returner. Not that Covey's been a total disaster, but I think, you could do a little bit better there.
He's better than Quez Watkins as a kick returner.
I agree with that. Yeah. It's just, you're kind of stuck, right? Like you can't make big changes at this point. So I don't really know what the solution there is going to be.
All right, through your SB Nation network, do a little healthy speculation. I know we're talking about the Eagles and their injuries, and the coach likes to play his cards close to the vest. Down there in Dallas, what do they call it? Blogging the boys or bleeding the boys, whatever it is. Jerry Jones, ready, willing, and able to tell you everything ahead of time, weeks in advance if necessary. Are we going to see Dak Prescott back behind center against the Rams this week?
Should we see Dak Prescott? Cooper Rush just wins games, Brandon.
I think, Dak should play when healthy, clearly. But I mean, I just think it's crazy that you would rush the quarterback back with an injury that is like, directly affecting his performance. And by the way, Dak didn't look good when he was healthy and I know the Buccaneers defense is tough, but still he looked like really bad. And not to say he'll, be that bad always, even if he didn't get hurt, but it's just like to assume he's going to come back, without a hitch when he wasn't even looking good. And by the way, now he's dealing with a finger injury to his throwing hand. I just think it's a little much, and it would be certainly funny if the Cowboys put him in and he's struggling, and then there's calls for Cooper Rush to go back in just because Dak doesn't.
It'll happen. It'll happen.
Yeah. Of course
it's already happening.
The Rams.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, I took a legitimate call on my CBS show this weekend. Cooper Rush, absolutely, positively must start. Cannot be pulled from the lineup. Yeah, right. And to Cooper Rush's credit, I gave one of my game balls on our Eye on Football show on CBS. He hasn't wowed anybody.
No.
Yeah.
He's won 3 games, but he hasn't wowed anyone. For Dak Prescott to be replaced, the quarterback replacing would have to wow people, right, Brandon?
Right. Or again, Dak would just have to be clearly like not healthy. Just clearly can't even like complete a pass. Like just not the accuracy, all over the place, turning the ball over. It'd have to be a disaster. And I do think at the very least, Dak will certainly be playing in that Eagles game. That's a very, very big game in week 6.
Best winning percentage in NFL history for a starting quarterback, Cooper.
The only Cowboys quarterback, I think, to go 4-0 in their first 4 starts.
Yeah. Cooper is doing a nice job. And I do think the Dallas Cowboys scare me for one reason, and his name is Micah Parsons. That guy is not blockable, and he can wreck a game. So it is going to be interesting. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Arizona, can the Eagles lose this game, or are they just that much better? They never win in Arizona, as you mentioned.
Right. Yeah, they can lose. I mean, the Chiefs just lost to the Colts last. Any team can lose any given Sunday, as everyone says. But again, I think it's just hard to look at what the Cardinals have here. Unless okay, Mailata is hurt and Driscoll just somehow turns out to be a disaster and it's some kind of nightmare performance like that. But I mean, again, so far this Cardinals defense has not performed well, and Jalen Hurts, even though didn't have his most prolific passing game, although it's in the rain and everything, I think that he'll bounce back. I think the passing offense will get going and be able to put up a lot of points in this one. So yeah, I mean, I actually haven't taken the Eagles this year, I think, to cover at all. I've taken the points every single week.
Really?
Every week. Yeah. I'm the same as you, Brandon. I picked the Eagles to win every game.
Right.
People call me a hater, but I haven't thought they would win by this much. I generally lose against the spread.
Yeah. And I feel better though about the Eagles this week at -5.
Wow. I picked the Eagles to win and
road.
cover all 4 weeks, and 3 out of 4 have been winners. 4 out of 4 on the winning side, 3 out of 4 on the cover.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little shaky about the Birds this week, but we'll get there a little bit later. Last thing for me, and if someone has already gone there, I apologize. I try and stay on top of all you guys who cover the team on a day-in, day-out basis. If it hasn't happened, who will be the first to tie this week's trip to Arizona as just a prelim for the later trip to Arizona? The Eagles will be making.
I was doing that weeks ago, and I doubt I was the first. Jody.
This is a dual Arizona year, Johnny Mac. That's what you're saying?
I mean, it was tongue in cheek, but yeah, you got to throw that out there.
Okay.
The
non-tongue in cheek.
Non-tongue in cheek. Yeah, I don't know if anybody's going to do that yet.
Nobody? Come on, it's got to be one of you.
I mean, like, for as much as we can say getting ahead of ourselves and everything, I mean, it's hard to look at the landscape of not just the NFC, but the NFL as a whole. There's only so many good teams, but especially the NFC. Like the Vikings right now, with the Eagles,
they're the number 2 seed.
I know, they don't look very good.
They're terrible. They're terrible.
It's really not hard. And looking at the Eagles' schedule the rest of the way, and obviously injuries, so many things can happen. Nothing.
That's why I say beware of San Francisco and that slow start. Beware of San Francisco.
Maybe beware the Giants. Johnny Mac he just discarded them, threw them aside today, despite their 3-1 record.
I am throwing them aside. Don't beware of the Giants. Don't.
I agree.
I probably am signing on to that too. All right, BLG, we love signing in with you, buddy. Thanks for streaming in. We'll get you back up in a couple of weeks. Enjoy the game on Sunday.
See you guys.
Thanks.
Check out his website, Bleeding Green Nation, a must for all you diehard Bird fans out there. All right,
by the way, can I, before we go to our last break, can I give you a Nick Bosa stat from our buddy Brad Spielberger at True Football? League leading 30 quarterback pressures, had 14 last night. 14 pressures in one game.
He is a stone cold beast.
Unbelievable player.
Both of the Bosa brothers, but the better one might reside in San Francisco right now. All right, Jody Mac coming back. We still got a couple minutes left. You know what we're going to do, put a bow on the show.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community. A sports roundup for the locals. And the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Since 1977 at Rafferty Subaru, we have always been about our customers and the community. Early on, a safe and durable option, we've evolved to become the best overall brand according to Kelley Blue Book. Over the last 14 years, we've donated thousands of dollars through the Subaru Share the Love event and found homes for hundreds of pets. The Rafferty family is proud of our 45 years in business. This month, celebrate our anniversary with special financing on select models. Visit us and see why.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass. Free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Holy shit. And you're telling me I can get one of these glasses for free?
That's right. One free rocks glass per customer with each first-time purchase of Stateside Vodka. So good, it just disappears.
Coming down the home stretch on a Tuesday edition of Birds 365. Mac guys. All right, let's close it out on let's call it a nitpicking note. And I will probably incur the wrath of our pal Dominique Dabney on the stream, who thinks all the media guys do is look at the negative. Okay, I'm playing devil's advocate. Do you hear me? Need to hear me say that I'm playing devil's advocate? Here's one of the things scares me about the Eagles this week. The Eagles right now are number 1 in the National Football League in plus-minus takeaways. They're plus 8 through 4 games, John. Now that's really good.
Yeah,
but
it helps.
I remember leading into this season, a lot of guys, yourself maybe included, I know others, the Cowboys can't do what they did last year. Their plus-minus was so top-heavy. You can't replicate that. You can't do it over. Well, if you can't do it from year to year, what makes you think you can do it from quarter to quarter? That the first quarter of the season, yeah, I know, 17 games, it's not quite a quarter yet, that old math thing, but they're plus 8. The next highest in the league is the Ravens at plus 4. And you know who's number 3?
I don't.
The Arizona Cardinals at plus 4. Eagles 1, Ravens 2, Cardinals 3. So it's all
remember who came in last week number 1, and that was Jacksonville. And the quarterback turned it over 5 times. So yeah, you can't count on it from week to week. Now there are, BLG brought up, Hassan Reddick in the strip sacks. That's a skill. That part of it, helps. But yeah, I mean, they generally come in waves. 2 of Lawrence's turnovers were, I used the tennis term, unforced errors.
Unforced, absolutely.
So, yeah, it's not a statistic that is going to be consistent. All you can do is teach it, and you see TJ Edwards punching at the football all the time when he gets people wrapped up. Things like that can help. But yeah, I mean, that is not a statistic. The Eagles are going to get 2 turnovers, 3 turnovers. I mean, that's just, one of those things.
But I will say this, and I'm a Kyler Murray fan. I think he's very difficult to defend. He is the latest incarnation of Michael Vick. And we saw Michael Vick here in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
he the fact that he can run the football. He carries it like a loaf of bread. He's got it out there, one hand palming it. And if you get guys who are quick enough with long enough reaches, you can punch that ball.
What coordinators say about certain quarterbacks is they will give you opportunities to turn the football over, and you have to take advantage of it. So that part is real. Some guys take better. One of the best things, maybe the best thing about Jalen Hurts this year has been his ability to take care of the football. And I know he had the pick 6, and that was a questionable pass in the coverage. I'm not saying he's perfect, but he's better than most when it comes to taking care of the football. You saw a quarterback who didn't take care of the football. Kyler Murray will give you some opportunities. So the Eagles need to take advantage of it.
I agree wholeheartedly on that. Johnny Mac, good job today. Again, my apologies. Couldn't log into the StreamYard. My bad. But we'll work on getting that straightened out going forward. If StreamYard allows me to come in tomorrow at 8 o'clock, I'll be here. Will you?
I will be. Well, who knows if they'll let me in? Who knows? We're all, I say we're all day to day, every day, but I plan on being here.
We're day to day, going to tomorrow. If all things are lined up and right in the world, McMullen and McDonald will be back in 2 and 2.
You've been listening to Birds 365, the destination for the passionate Eagles football fan who bleeds green. If it's Eagles football, we're talking about it. Debate inside the locker room and guests that are some of the greatest football minds from around the region. We hope you enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with us on social media at JAKIB Sports. See you next time on Birds 365.